Construction Chevrolet from Mooresville, the number 57 of Danny Bowman. Rolling off ninth, he said no to the fans challenge, but he drew ninth in the Jerry Hunt Supercenter Chevrolet from Mount Airy, the showstopper, Chris Fleming. Starting eighth, the Raj Jordan Giant Chevrolet from Walker down to number 07 of Riley Eagle. Starting seventh.
Welcome back to Bowman Gray Stadium for the NASCAR Advanced Auto Parts Weekly Series, round number 12 this year here for this series. And next on the card will be the biggest division of all the NASCAR modifieds here at Bowman Gray Stadium. A 100-lap race, the Fox 8 WGHP 100. And we've seen a few of these races already this year. Brandon Ward, by the way, with a couple of wins in the 100-lappers.
Yes, Brandon Ward. And speaking of the 100-lappers and winners, we've got Danny Bowman, Burt Myers, and Brandon Ward that has been 100-lap winners. But Brandon Ward's got two of them. Could he get a third one tonight?
Well, let's take a look at the lineup for tonight's 100-lap modified feature. On the pole for this one in the Black Sand Company, number 69 out of Winston-Salem, North Carolina, it's John Holloman, former Legends car standout back in the summer shootout days. And alongside, it's William Crab Smith in the Peterbilt 99 out of Mount Airy, North Carolina.
You can see the shootout here on Flow. Did you know that, Bob?
That's right, absolutely.
I
wouldn't miss
it. Absolutely. In the next row, it's good to see this one back here. This driver, Madhouse star, number 7 out of Keene, North Carolina, in the Wagner Appliance Services, Junior Snow. Outside of him, and from Poptown, North Carolina, in the Carolina Triad Choice car, number 5, Randy Butner.
Row number 3, starting on the inside in spot number 5, the number 13 of Luke Fleming out of Mount Airy, North Carolina. And the Fleming family, I'm sure we'll talk a lot about them throughout this race because they are part of the Southern modified culture. And on the outside, Burt Myers in the number 1 with Backyard Leisure Pool and Spas, Peanut Patch, and Citrus Safe on the side of that race car for the ace, Burt Myers in the 1.
Starting behind them, in the car number 83 out of Tobaccoville, North Carolina, Mr. 101, 101 wins in the Hayes Jewelers machine, Tim Brown. Outside of him, the Walkertown, North Carolina native in the car number 07 Breakfast Time machine of Riley Neal.
17 wins for the driver that starts 9th in the number 16 out of Mount Airy, North Carolina, the showstopper, Chris Fleming. And to his outside, he won a 100-lapper, as you mentioned, Jeff, earlier on here as we came on the air with the modifieds. Danny Bowman in the North American Construction number 57. He's out of Mooresville, North Carolina, but his heritage is actually out of New Jersey.
Oh, New Jersey boy right there, Wall Stadium. But starting behind him is another Denny. But it's the Flying Taco out of Monroe, North Carolina, 00. Denny Probst. Outside of him in the L&R transmission from Walnut Cove, North Carolina, number 9, Kyle Southern.
Starting lucky number 13, another generation of the Myers family. Slate Myers out of Walnut Cove, North Carolina. He has been coming into his own this season in NASCAR modified competition in the 6 machine. To his outside, with a victory this year, the number 75 of Lee Jeffries out of Wahlberg, North Carolina. By the way, one of his sponsors, Wahlberg Grill and Pizza. Very good, went there today for lunch.
Very good, very good. Starting behind them in the car number 44 and from Kernersville, North Carolina, that Petty Blue modified machine right there, Daniel Beeson. Starting outside of him, he came here to battle. He's got that Army tan right there in that modified machine, the Lewis Shooting Targets machine out of King, North Carolina, car number 10, Mike Speeney.
And how about this for a big surprise, starting way back in 17th. Brandon Ward, second in points, 5 victories this year. He's out of Winston-Salem as well in that New Day Motorsports car. And starting on the outside, the 77 of Susan Harwell out of Jonesville, North Carolina.
Starting behind them as the field gets the 1 to go signal, car number 35 of Brandon Butner. And starting outside of him in car number 8, Austin Harris.
The 41 of Corey Lovett is in that 21st spot. And how about Jason Myers in the QRC HVAC and refrigeration machine, that number 4 car, with all his victories here at Bowman Gray Stadium, taking the fans challenge. If he's able to make his way through the field, and we'll talk about it a bunch, possible $9,000 bonus for Jason Myers taking the fans challenge here tonight. But off of turn number 4, it's the 69 of John Holloman roaring to the green flag.
The mighty modifieds of the Madhouse taking the green. Coming around to complete lap 1, John Holloman has got the lead on Junior Snow with Butner, Randy Butner behind him in 3rd, and you got the ace Burt Myers sitting in 4th.
And Junior Snow with a good outing last week in that 7 machine, finished in the runner-up spot. He's been plagued with engine issues. He's had 3 different engines in that race car. This engine here tonight, he bought for $7,500. Who says money buys speed? Because he's going good last week and this week here at Bowman Gray.
He is showing he hasn't lost anything as far as skill getting around this joint. And right now he's got Randy Butner, Mr. Nice Guy, behind him. If I wanted anybody behind me, it would be Randy Butner around this joint. He's going to race him clean. He's going to give him time to get up there and hopefully battle with John Holloman. Because right now we're talking about only 4 laps completed of a 100-lap race. It's a long race. You want to settle in, see what your car is doing, and try to get every position, because every position matters here tonight.
This is the Brad's Golf Cars Modified Division at Bowman Gray Stadium. You mentioned Randy Butner. There's Holloman in that top spot, but Butner in that white number 5 feels like they maybe turned the tide a little bit this season. He's been to victory lane, but at the same time, Butner has felt like he's been behind the 8 ball a little bit. So they've been running that conventional setup for years on that 5 car. Maybe a little trickery on that machine. He said it was dialed in pretty well with a podium finish in one of the races last week, and he feels like he's coming into his own.
He might be picking the brain of somebody I might know that might be doing a little bit of setups in there, but hey, as you can see, it's working, and he's going to make it work tonight, and he might sit there and wait till it matters and pounce on Justin Snow. But right now, as they complete lap 8 of 100, again, I got to stress, it's a long race. Everybody's settling in, seeing what they've got. The track's got grip again. And look, if there's an incident out there, guess what we got tonight in the modifieds? The cone restarts. You will see it tonight.
And how about that finish a few weeks back with Holloman, Burt Myers?
Oh, yeah.
Whoa, that was crazy.
Classic. That was a classic 69 versus 1 all over again. It was a blast from the past. Both drivers put on a show, and that's what the Madhouse is all about. It just overflows with nostalgia.
Oh, trouble for Randy Butner. Kind of pulls down the front stretch, goes to the inside, loses some spots. So problems for the number 5 machine of Randy Butner after we were just praising his efforts here last week and this week. And he's got that car in the infield grass trying to go to the pit area.
Well, I can tell you, it's not the handling that went on that car. It's obviously from the power plant. And that just breaks my heart right there. Coming right below us, it sounded like he was not running. So let's take a look at these point standings.
Yeah, the point standings definitely interesting here, and it always is dramatic right to the end. Burt Myers with a decent point lead, 16 points, but after some difficulty last week, Brandon Ward with those 5 wins has been able to close the door just a little bit, just 16 points back. It's really those 2 right now, but you never know. With 3 races remaining, Chris Fleming could still creep into the mix.
Anything can happen in I'm telling you, round 12 always sets it up for the rest of the season. Something spectacular happens, whether it's the sportsman division, street stock, or stadium stock, but the modifieds, it's always something. And right now, as close as you see it right there, something's going to end up happening tonight. And it's probably going to make it even closer, or Burt will come out on top. He's sitting in the catbird seat and add a cushion on that points lead.
Well, one driver who has definitely turned some heads this year, we knew his prowess in the sportsman division, winner there, Riley Neal, the new deal. Looking very good behind the wheel of this race car. 8 straight top 10 finishes for this young race car driver who fights as tough as nails. It's part of that family tradition.
I'm telling my age here, but I used to carry Riley Neal to his dad's car at Ace Speedway when I used to flag there to give him the checkered flag. Now he's racing a modified. And by the way, Riley Neal could pick me up.
Yes,
and
he
I
can.
used to pick up 200-pound men.
He could tackle you,
He
too.
could tackle me. That's a big boy now. But I'm very proud of Riley Neal. He has showed that team, that whole team, does not give up. And sitting there in the 5th position, anything can happen right now. He's got Danny Bone there behind him. He's going to give him the pressure, but I got faith in Riley Neal. He's going to put on a show.
You know, I saw this car this year and that 07 on the side, the numbers that are on that race car, just really interesting to me because I'm going to date myself. I go way back in the Northern modified culture as well. It kind of reminds me of the 07 of Teddy Riggett back in the day. So love historic race cars. Another historic race car, certainly that 83 right there of Tim Brown, the Rocket. Having a pretty good year here so far at the stadium.
I asked Tim Brown today, had a good conversation with him. I asked him, I said, you're 101. do you happen to have a number in your head when you're going to probably slow down or hang that helmet up? Before I could finish, he said, absolutely not. Dude, my feet hit the floor. The devil goes, oh, gosh, he's up. He ain't going to stop until, it's his time. And he said the number is not in his head. He's going to keep winning races. So that was our conversation here with the Rocket.
He's got a long way to go, trust me. And he's always serious. He means business when he arrives at this racetrack.
Speaking of business,
here we go.
Double foul restart here, Bob.
Let's get back to business. Holloman on the inside for this restart, coming back to the green flag. On the outside, Junior Snow. Junior Snow, our hard-nosed race car driver as well. Burt Myers in third.
Nice slow restart there, but they fire off even, and John Holloman gets a good jump on Junior Snow. Junior Snow sitting in second with the ace Burt Myers sitting in third.
Luke Fleming moves up to that fourth spot by Riley Neal, who's going to drop probably another spot here. Chris Fleming gets by as well, but that outside group very tough, especially on these restarts.
Riley Neal is trying to hold off the Rocket. Tim Brown, he shuts the door on Tim and holds that position. Good for Riley Neal, showing that he's still got a good car underneath him so far. Again, only 18 laps completed of 100 laps, and Riley Neal holding his own with the Rocket behind him.
The 57 of Danny Bowman in eighth. He dropped a couple of spots on that restart as well. Behind him is Lee Jeffries in that number 75 machine, a little loose coming off the corner, and the 10 of Speedy right there as well.
Oh, he's got Mike Speedy, and he's got Kyle Southern bearing down his back, saying we got to go. We got to get up there and get in position, because look, a caution is going to be probably inevitable right here. A caution is going to come out, and these guys, as you see Mike Speedy putting the pressure on Lee Jeffries, Speedy can take the cone and end up being third if possible with that cone restart.
Speedy going to be able to get the spot on Jeffries in that 75, so move him up a spot. He took advantage of a situation right there and made it count. Jeffries
Southern
under
taking
fire.
advantage as well. Kyle Southern following Mike Speedy, trying to get by Lee Jeffries. You got 22 laps on the board. Lee Jeffries holding his own right there on the hot side. He's not letting Kyle go yet. Brandon Ward, a championship competitor, he's still in the back behind all this.
It's really interesting. You mentioned those two victories in the 100-lap races for Brandon Ward. He said that car has really come into its own, especially late in the year last year, and of course this year with those 5 wins. But he's mired outside the top 10 right now, and guess what? The points leader, who he's chasing for this championship, is sitting in third, Burt Myers.
He needs to get up there, but right now he's got the 2 right there, as you see him holding the lineup of Kyle Southern and Lee Jeffries. Lee Jeffries is holding his own, and right now Lee Jeffries says, all right, go ahead, kid, you got it. He's going to settle in right here, cool his tires off. He was burning that right rear up as Flying Taco gets a little loose. Brandon Ward goes on the high side. Let's see if Taco can hold it.
You know, Taco told us he was reincarnated. He's going to be reincarnated once again. The Flying Taco. Danny Probst goes around to bring out the caution.
He slipped on some lettuce and some shredded cheese there. That was a tough battle between Lee Jeffries and Kyle Southern. Good for them, but they were holding up the line behind them. And Taco said, we got to go. And then all of a sudden, some lettuce got out there and he spun.
You sure
I didn't see no contact.
I didn't know lettuce was actually slippery.
What?
Might have been some of the mustard or something like that.
Mustard on a taco?
Or maybe some salsa. How about that?
Mustard on a taco?
Well, you know, some people
Sour cream was out there probably. He slipped in it. Mustard.
Let's take a look at what happened here. Danny Probst, even in practice this morning, was struggling a little bit with that race car. Loose conditions, and there's Brandon Ward going on the outside. Danny Probst just loses the handle right in the center of the corner where he's trying to get back on that gas.
You see the fans' challenge there of Jason Myers. He's still trying to get up there and win that big $9 grand. And he had that happen in front of him. I'm sure he locked the brakes up a little bit, but got by it. Everybody's good. And the cone is out, Bob. Let's see who takes the cone here on this restart. We got 28 laps on the board of 100. Danny Bone taking the high side. Mike Speedy taking the high side. We got Kyle Southern and Lee Jeffries that put on a show there before this caution came out. They're both on the bottom. Fans challenge of Jason Myers takes the bottom.
I love the traffic control safety services choose cone that they have implemented at Bowman Gray Stadium. Provides opportunities for people to make up spots. Now the opportunity to lead this race or continue to lead the race right in the hands of the 69 of John Holloman.
Oh, nice restart for both of them guys. Fire off even. You got Burt Myers as leaving Justice Snow on the outside. You got Chris Fleming that dropped it down in front of the Rocket, and his son Luke Fleming sitting in third. But the battle of second is on between Burt Myers and Justice Snow.
And Burt Myers, battle done. Burt Myers, the ace, up to second, looking for another victory this year. He has 3 to his credit in that Peanut Patch Citrus Safe Grill Cleaners #1. Third place now, Chris Fleming in the 16. Here comes the Rocket, Tim Brown as well. All the big names getting up front here during this 100-lap race.
We've got history between these two.
Oh, trouble, they make contact.
And the history between these two continues as they get right together right there at the can opener. If anybody remembers.
Oh, I remember.
If anybody remembers. Justice Snow made a name for himself here at the Madhouse that won Madhouse night.
I told Justin Snow I was actually going to go over to Pulliam's for some hot dogs today. Unfortunately, Pulliam's was closed. Pulliam's a sponsor on Tim Brown's car, and he said, you can go to Pulliam's, I can't, because Tim Brown still won't let me eat there.
I don't think, I mean, could you blame him?
No.
Cost him a championship a year ago.
Let's take a look at this. Okay, watch right there for the 4th spot. Brown on the inside. Junior Snow gets loose and actually comes down with the left front, making contact with the 83 of Tim Brown. Unfortunately for Speeny, he was also involved as well as Slate Myers.
Speeny was doing such a good run here, but look, I'm not going to say that was nothing intentional there. That was somebody that was trying to stay on the high side there. Now, look, when he saw that orange car and saw that 83 on the door there, he probably stepped it up and said, I'm not letting him by, and ended up biting him at the end right there at the can opener.
Love the can opener. Why don't you explain that for everybody that's watching?
The can opener's right there in the corner. There,
to the left side of your screen.
Left side of the screen. If the camera can turn just to the left, you'll see where the bleacher comes to a point there. Come on back. Come on. You see where the guardrail, it looks like it pokes out? Well, that bleacher there, perfect. Thank you. That bleacher right there is called the beer garden. And right there you see as the bleachers meet, it pokes that guardrail out. So we call it the can opener. You know how many times I've seen, when I used to flag here, I used to see a car's side of the door just get shredded off. It just, you know, either they get pushed out there or it's not handling right, they go right into the wall. It just rips the door off. I've also seen some cars climb the can opener.
Oh, yeah. So the can opener, you know, by the beer garden, ripping some sheet metal off of race cars. I like that, JB.
Yeah,
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the Widowmaker at Thunder Road Speedball up there in Vermont.
Every track's got character.
Absolutely.
And that's part of this place right here. There's a lot of characters around here, but that right there, the can opener, there's going to be T-shirts of that.
This place, I think they should make some T-shirts. They'd sell some here for sure, but this place is all about character for so many years. Just infamous battles, especially in this modified division. Bad break, though, for Speeny in that number 10 machine.
Bad break for Speeny for sure. It was handling very well, and unfortunately, his night is probably over. He's got the hook right there, getting Beeson out of the way. But look, hey, right now only 33 laps on the board. We're going to come back and we're going to see some hot action. I guarantee it.
There you go. A couple of cars going to the pit area, but JB has promised hot action when we come back live on Flow Racing. Back here at Bowman Gray Stadium, right in the middle of this 100-lap dance for the Mighty Modifieds at Bowman Gray Stadium. 34 laps in the books. Leader is John Holloman, who has held the point right from the get-go at the drop of the green. Second place, Burt Myers. Third, Chris Fleming. Fourth is Tim Brown. Now, how about Luke Fleming in that 13 machine in the 5th spot?
Very good run for Luke Fleming. Good to see him back. But look, this place is called the Madhouse. This place will turn your head, spin your head around. It'll make you mad. Mad enough to you forget these Madhouse stars' names. I called Junior Snow Justin about 30 times before the break. So it's Junior Snow, my bad. I should have known that.
Junior.
Junior.
He's a junior.
He's a junior.
His dad was a dirt late model racer back in the day. And the track there in Elkin was named many different names throughout its years and so forth. 311. You know, the second generation race car driver, Junior Snow, involved in that one, as was Speeney in the number 10 machine. You can see that bumper crushed on that race car. That's taken a while for the tow truck to actually move that car off of the wall in the spot of this racetrack that JB calls the can opener.
The can opener.
But here we go. We got a flash back to a few weeks back between John Holloman and Burt Myers, and that was a dynamic race right to the finish with a lot of bumping and banging.
That was a barn burner, a heavyweight battle. We've seen John Holloman go through turn 1, through the grass, turn that sucker right, and it ended up catching and still keeping the first place right there, coming off of 2, with Burt Myers finishing second to the 69. It was a blast from the past as well. Everybody knows it's a Madhouse Maniac, 69 versus 1, all those years. And we ended up seeing it a few weeks back. Will we see it again tonight?
So Holloman will lead the field back to the green flag.
Cone's coming out, Bob.
And at that cone, they're going to shake things up a little bit. We look at some of the players in this one as well. There's a lot of players still left, even though a few have actually pulled off the racetrack. But we take a look at the cone and we'll see who chooses inside or out. No brainer for John Holloman on that inside, but Burt Myers, he knows this place like the back of his hand on the outside. There's
only a few people, I can count them on my hand, that can make the outside work here, and Burt Myers, the ace in that Citrus Safe 1, can hold it on the outside. He's going to probably, this restart's going to be interesting. If I had to guess, there's going to be some games being played here. We might not kick it off, but I'll tell you this, weather is on the way. These guys, there's might be just 37 laps on the board. To them, that's lap 98.
I just saw you looking at your phone, looking at that green blob that may or may not be coming to Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Anyway, Holloman, trickery on that restart, grabs the lead over Burt Myers. Myers trying to hang tough on the outside. Will he be able to do it? Look how he pivots that car and gets the run down the backstretch here at this quarter mile of Bowman Gray Stadium. Still side by side, coming back to the line. John Holloman just with an edge over Burt Myers.
Coming around to complete lap 39. They'll come around and complete lap 40, but to them, it's lap 98 with that green blob on the radar on its way. John Holloman pushes Burt up the track. Burt loses it a little bit, goes back to third. The rocket makes contact. Oh, we got him. Oh.
Burt Myers made contact with that right rear on your can opener down there on turn number 4. So Myers loses a spot. Here comes Fleming. Remember, we said he sits third in points. Can he make up some markers? By the way, second in points, Brandon Ward now in the top 10, but he sits in the 8th spot in that Q104.1 iHeartRadio machine.
Oh, we're going to see that cone come back out and see some restarts there. Brandon's got some time to get back up there, but right now, Burt Myers does not want Chris Fleming up there battling with Holloman and possibly taking the lead and winning this thing. It'll add more points and get, coming up closer to Burt in the point standings.
You've known these guys for years. You know Chris Fleming, the competitor that he is, a big goose egg in the win column for this year. How hungry is he to get this win tonight in this 100-lapper?
Oh, he's starving. He's choking on Speedy Dry. He wants this win. He's going to do whatever he has to do. Lap 44 coming around to complete lap 45. He's got Burt Myers bearing down on his back coming out of 4. But he's got John Holloman, Superman, in his sights. Looks like he's going to wait till it counts and give him the chrome horn, push him up the track and get by him, but we'll see when that happens.
Are you predicting something?
Oh, look, I've been here long enough. I know what's going to end up happening most of the time.
We want to look at this battle right here because this is just outside the top 5. Luke Fleming in the 13, locking down that 6th spot. But there is Riley Neal and then Brandon Ward in that gray machine right there in the thick of things. And right now it looks like Fleming's car might be slowing down a little bit, maybe holding up Riley Neal and Brandon Ward.
Luke Fleming making his return to the Madhouse is pushing a little bit, center off, and he's got Riley Neal. He's got Brandon Ward behind Riley Neal, putting the pressure on him. But right now, Riley Neal's trying to race Luke clean as he can. He's got about a car length on him, but as you see, he's pushing up, center off there, and going up the track, and Riley Neal's got to take advantage of that before Brandon gets in the back of him.
And the interesting thing for Brandon Ward, last year he won the championship in the NASCAR Modifieds here at Bowman Gray Stadium without a win. And look at Riley Neal goes up the racetrack and allows Brandon Ward to get by. Trouble for Riley Neal. Maybe that string of 8 top 10 finishes in jeopardy here. We're halfway through this one here at the Madhouse. It's John Holloman over Chris Fleming, Burt Myers, and Tim Brown. That's the top 4. Big gap back to Danny Bone in 5th. 6th is Luke Fleming. 7th now Brandon Ward. 8th is Kyle Southern. 9th now is the Fans Challenge guy, the only driver to actually take the Fans Challenge, worth $9,000 tonight, Jason Myers. And in that 10th spot is Lee Jeffries.
As you saw, Riley Neal finally got it back on the bottom. It looked like he might have been rearview mirror driving and got up in the marbles. Not sure what happened there, but as we go back up to the front here, you see John Holloman still has Chris Fleming, Burt Myers, and the Rocket sitting behind him. The Rocket's got a little bit of distance between him and the ace, Burt Myers. He's sitting there waiting to see if Chris Fleming's going to cause disaster up front and take advantage of it. 54 laps on the board of 100. We've got weather in the area. These guys thinks it's lap 97 of 100. John Holloman, as we see Brandon Ward putting the heat on Luke Fleming there with Kyle Southern behind him.
Brandon Ward itching to get by Fleming because, as you mentioned, 45, now 44 laps still left in this one. Still plenty of time.
Chris Fleming's got a problem. He's on the front stretch. He just let Burt Myers go by, but it was coming off of 4. He did not have any power. I'm not sure what happened there. We still see Brandon Ward giving the pressure on Luke Fleming, but Chris Fleming, the dad, I'm not sure what happened there coming out of 4, Bob, but he was not under power, but he's back under power, sitting in 3rd place.
So as he gets back under power in that 3rd spot, we continue to keep our eyes peeled right here. You have Luke Fleming in that 13, and then there's Brandon Ward, and the caution lights come out here. Lap number 58 of 100. I don't see a car, maybe some debris down in the corner.
If I had to guess, like I said, the cameras were on Luke Fleming there with a hot battle with Brandon Ward, but Chris Fleming coming out of 4 came to a complete stop almost. Burt Myers got around him just in time, so they're probably going to check the track. I hope Chris Fleming is okay as far as fluid or anything. It's not the power plant starting to fail, but right now Chris Fleming is sitting in 3rd with possible problems. The caution's out. We've got Jimmy Brown, the best track crew in America, checking the track. They're taking a look at the 16, be sure there's no fluid coming out of him. Don't see anything shiny there. Good shot there of the track.
And as we watch this race, trying to figure out exactly what the caution is for, we talked about what they did to this racetrack this week. They washed a racetrack. How do they wash a racetrack?
They washed a racetrack. You would think that would be nuts. Madness, you know, here at the Madhouse, but they did. They brought in detergent and washed the track up because the weekend before we had a demolition derby here. It was madness. It was dirt everywhere, mud, scrapes, everything that you could think of here on the track. And they ended up bringing detergent and washing the track up. Then we had some weather in the end of the week that came by. So this track, this right now, rubber is finally being laid on this place. It was a little bit greasy there at the beginning of the day during morning practice, but it's putting on a show tonight.
Is that greasy with a Z or an S?
That's with a Z.
Okay, I thought so. So still plenty of time to go in this one. 40 laps at this juncture. The choose comb coming out for next time by for all the competitors. Gotta love Southern Modified Racing. All that history here at Bowman Gray Stadium since the late 40s. I mean, just incredible the amount of good race car drivers that come out of here for so many years. And, you know, at the same time, so much good modified racing here in the South as well. The Smart Modified Tour, powered by Pace-O-Matic, will be back in action Labor Day weekend. Friday night at New River All-American Speedway, and Saturday at Carteret County Speedway. So a beach trip for the Southern Mod. So when the season stops here at Bowman Gray in 3 weeks, a Smart Modified Tour kind of takes over and carries through the month of October. So if you want to get yourself some modified action, come out here the next 3 weeks to Bowman Gray Stadium. And after that, look for the Smart Modified Tour and where they are racing.
61 laps on the board, and John Holloman and Burt Myers, they're going to play some games right here. As you see, Burt Myers gets a little jump.
Surprise,
he's like, come
surprise.
on, Superman, let's get up here. They might not throw the green. Nope, not going to happen.
No,
caution flag
not.
Comes out. I told you.
Burt Myers is trying to bait him into that a little bit, but he knows with all of his experience that Holloman is going to control that restart. So by holding back, Holloman controlled it. The yellow flag came out. Now they're maybe going to say, hey, guys, remember, you know, side by side, Holloman's got to fire first. We'll see what happens coming off of turn number 4. A lot better pace. There goes Holloman on the loud pedal, and he roars to the green flag.
They touch just a little bit as he keeps Burt Myers on the outside, and Chris Fleming tries to follow John Holloman and keep Burt on the outside. All them guys right there, as you see, John Holloman, Chris Fleming, and Tim Brown wants that one car to stay up high. But the one car, I'm telling you, I could count them on one hand. They could get around here on the high side, and Burt Myers is one of them, and he's showing it right now.
I love how he pivots that car in the center of the corner to get the run up off. Can't do it there because Fleming kind of threw him a shoulder a little bit, maybe to kind of just barely push him up the racetrack. And we all know that inside groove, the best lane. Now, the biggest rivals of current modified racing here at Bowman Gray Stadium, side by side with Tim Brown and Burt Myers in the 1 for third.
66 laps complete of 100, and right now Burt Myers slams the door on Tim. Tim gives him the chrome horn, but Burt holds on to it. Coming out at 2, he has got third place, and now he's got Chris Fleming, the showstopper, in his sights. But right now the showstopper sees Superman. He wants to be his kryptonite, get that win, and get that points cushion.
Gotta love Holloman. You know, he opens up that, you know, driver's suit when he gets in victory lane. You see that Superman right there, but we'll see what happens here tonight. Holloman has definitely matured a lot over the last couple of years. Now a dad as well, and he loves coming to Bowman Gray Stadium to run. This is his style of racetrack after starting his career and cutting his teeth at the summer shootout, that oval there at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Almost a little contact back there. Holloman maybe getting a little bit loose, entering the corner, and the showstopper was there to maybe just barely put a bumper to him.
Oh, it wasn't barely. He gave him that chrome horn. As you see, sparks coming from the right front of Chris Fleming. He is doing everything he can not to take that kid out. But look, it's only 71 laps on the board, and we've got weather in the area. He wants to get by that 69, get those points. He's giving him a shot going into 1. He wants this win. He can taste it.
Chris Fleming wants a victory this season at Bowman Gray
Caution
Stadium.
now, we got Riley Neal on the back stretch, not under power. Unfortunate for him, he was doing good.
So the caution comes out with 28 laps to go in this 100-lap race. He heads to the pit area in that 07 machine. So let's reset the table a little bit here. John Holloman first. Chris Fleming in second. Third is Burt Myers. Fourth, Tim Brown. Fifth, Danny Bones. Sixth now is Brandon Ward. So a good run for Brandon Ward to try to close the gap a little bit with Burt Myers running up on a podium spot. Let's take a look at the replay of what happened here on the racetrack. That 07 race car. Actually, no replay of the 07 machine of Riley Neal, who just had difficulty on the racetrack and went to the pit area. What a good season it has been for that rookie.
It has been, but I'm seeing a trend here, Bob. Every time we talk good about somebody, it might be something happening. I don't think we should talk good about anybody anymore. It looks like we got a trend going here because they ended up behind the wall or an incident happened. I was just talking about Mike Speeney. Now Mike Speeney's out with a broken rack. I mean, I don't know, Bob. Riley Neal, he's behind the wall. Looked like he came out of 2 there with no power. Unfortunate for him tonight. As we see the cone back out. Now this restart's going to be very, very important. As we see, Chris Fleming, he will take the high side. That keeps Burt Myers from going on the high side again of Holloman. So will we see some trickery between the Showstopper and Superman?
You know, the way Chris Fleming has that car set up, kind of rides on that right rear tire, kind of sets himself up, if he's able to get to the center well, maybe set himself up for a run up off the corner challenge for this lead.
Well, we're going to find this out if he can hold that high side like Burt Myers did as they come around to take the green flag. Green flag's in the air. Good restart. Chris Fleming, the Showstopper, slams the door on Burt Myers. Now they've got Tim Brown, the Rocket, high and dry on the outside. So now Burt Myers returns the favor to the Rocket and says, you didn't let me in. I'm not going to let you in.
Look at Burt Myers trying to hold pace, and he does. Getting to that third spot. Brown able to close the door on Danny Bone. But the battle right there for the fifth spot with Brandon Ward on the outside of the 57 of Danny Bone, who has won a 100-lap race this year here at Bowman Gray Stadium.
Both of them has won 100 lappers. Brandon Ward has won 2 100 lappers this year. As he gets sideways a little bit and Kyle Southern lets him in, gives him a bumper a little bit, but Brandon Ward sitting tight right there behind Danny Bone in the 6th position, excuse me.
Chris Fleming trying to get to the back bumper of Holloman in the 69. Has done it on a couple of times in turn number 1. Just gets there and rides it just a little bit on that 69 down in 1 and 2. But things are going to get really interesting here in a hurry now. With 20 laps to go in this race, Chris Fleming hungry, and the caution comes out once again. Kyle Southern, who was running in that 7th spot, was on the infield grass when we looked to bring out the caution.
It was just about to get good, and it's going to be a quickie caution. We got Matthew Garrison going to bring the cone out. The tower knows we've got weather on the way. It can happen any minute. These guys know there's weather right outside the door. They're going to drop the hammer on this next restart. This restart is going to be very, very exciting. I could feel it. But right now, I believe Burt Myers is sitting in the catbird seat. He's waiting. He's waiting on Chris Fleming and John Holloman to make something happen. That's what he's doing.
And then maybe it'll be deja vu all over again between Holloman and Burt Myers if Myers is able to get back to that 2nd spot. A lot of drama that could still play out here in the final 19 laps of this race.
There's no drama that's still. There's going to be some drama tonight.
Make sure you let us know where you're watching on Flow Racing here tonight. Get on social media and show us a picture. That ain't going to work.
We got games. The Showstopper putting a stop to the show.
I told you he was anxious for another victory in his career here at Bowman Gray.
Tower did not like that. They said, put it out. We're not going green. They need to be even as possible.
I'm sure telling Chris Fleming, hey, got to stay side by side. We would call it playing games, as you mentioned. Holloman now with Fleming alongside. 2nd try, this time by. Nice slow pace for Holloman. He's on the gas, but so is Fleming. They race into the corner. Burt Myers is there underneath the 16. Myers trying to get back to 2nd. He's going to be able to do that, but Fleming not giving up. Now he does, dives to the bottom and just really cuts off Danny Bone, who is trying to make a move to the inside of the 16.
Burt Myers said, not happening tonight. He's going to slam the door, and he's sitting in 2nd spot. Now he's in a good catbird seat. Chris Fleming still, he wants that win. He wants to be in front of that 1 to help him points. You got Brandon Ward back behind there. He's losing positions. So right now, Burt Myers sitting in a good spot, but the best spot is John Holloman right now.
Jason Myers trying to win that $9,000 Fans Challenge, now up to 6th. He's got a few more spots that he's got to get.
That could happen with 86 laps on the board. We could see the restart cone come back out and Jason Myers get up there. But right now, we're watching Danny Bone get a little sideways there off of Jason Myers' front bumper. Danny Bone holds on to it. Jason don't want to ruffle any feathers, because if he gets by somebody that he did, they'll return the favor. And there goes that $9 grand.
So as they wage war for the 5th spot, we continue to look at these top competitors as well. Contact between Myers and Holloman. Holloman able to hold on for now, and the caution flies once again here with 12 laps to go.
Why did the caution come out? It was just getting good, Bob. Debris must be on the track, and it looks like it is out of 4 right there. It was just getting good. We had the rivalry fixing to ignite again. Burt Myers saw an opportunity.
Bad break because things were just heating up.
Oh, it's a quickie caution. We got the cone coming back out, and we've got weather outside our door. It can drop any minute now. These guys are going to turn up the wick. You got Burt Myers. He wants to put a little bit more cushion on that points lead. You got John Holman, the Superman, which Burt Myers is his kryptonite, and he's trying to keep him behind him. It's going to get good.
Our resident meteorologist, Matt Strickert, showing us that green blob, which is right on the edge of hitting this area of Winston-Salem. We'll keep an eye on that, but we're also going to be focused on who's going to win this race. Burt Myers going to the outside for this restart. He's good on the outside, but you never know. I mean, Holloman and Chris Fleming. Fleming's going to try to fill that hole.
My question is, will we see games again on this restart? Caution laps count. If we do see that, it's counting the caution laps down. Let's see if they can do a clean restart, which they do not. We've got the caution back out. And again, caution laps count. That takes the laps down. If that hurts anybody, it hurts Burt. He's got to be even. We got to get this race back going. 91 laps on the board. Let's go, guys.
And that type of game right there is saying, okay, for this next restart, which will be the real one, Burt Myers said, hey, Holloman, remember, I got to be alongside of you. So that gamesmanship continuing to happen here in the NASCAR Modifieds at the stadium. Holloman back on the gas. Myers alongside. Let's see what happens down in 1 and 2.
Burt Myers. He's keeping it on the high side right now. Chris Fleming does not want him down. Tim Brown backs off a little bit on this. He knows something could happen here. Burt Myers holding it on the high side of the showstopper. 93 laps on the board. Burt Myers gets together with the showstopper. He gathers it back under him.
Contact between the 16 of Fleming and the number 1 car of Burt Myers. Myers appears to be okay. Danny Bowman now on the inside of Tim Brown for 4th. Brown really loose coming up off the corner, really gets that horsepower working, but Danny Bowman, who is a strong-willed competitor as well, trying to hold down that inside line, really slipped up a little bit coming off the corner.
Oh, the showstopper gets in the back of John Holman. John Holman holds on to it. They just saw 5 laps to go. They're coming around. They'll see 4 laps to go. The showstopper turned the heat on. John Holman. Will John Holman hold on to it?
Holloman, he's led this race from the beginning. A little bump to say, I'm there. Another bump in the center of the corner by the 16 of Chris Fleming. Fleming wants another victory. Holloman trying to make it 2 on the season.
And showstopper. The rocket gets up high in the marbles. But right now, the caution is out. The caution is out for turn 1 and 2. They might on the track. They got the rocket up there in the marbles.
We are going to see a green-white checkered finish to add to the drama that is the Madhouse.
We're going to see overtime. Oh, you've seen overtime on Sundays. You haven't seen overtime here at the Madhouse. You see lap 98 on the board, but caution laps here count, and you will see a green-white checkered. The greatest track crew in America out here checking the track. There was reports of fluid in 1 and 2. It looked like the rocket Tim Brown got into it, got up in the marbles. But right now, our focus is on that 69 and 16. If I had to guess, on this cone restart, we're going to see the showstopper take the high side. You're going to see Burt Myers take the low side, and he's going to try to keep the showstopper up high. The question is, can Burt keep the showstopper behind him and get by Superman?
Chris has got to take the outside to go for the victory, but at the same time, it's kind of like we talked about. You know, Burt Myers took that outside, just opens up the door. The bottom line, especially tonight, seems pretty darn predominant. So you got to wonder, is Chris Fleming thinking like, oh, what's the best opportunity for me? If I can get and roll the outside, maybe I have a chance down the backstretch.
You could see Chris Fleming not take the cone, Burt Myers take the cone, and Chris Fleming push the 69 in the next corner up into the 1 and take advantage.
Exactly.
Look, me and your brother was at a concert just last weekend.
I know,
we were at Creed.
You were living your past.
It was like, what if? What if? My favorite Creed song. There's a lot of what ifs tonight, Bob. There's a lot of what if Burt Myers does this, and what if Chris Fleming does this, and what if John Holloman does this. We're about to find out here live on Flow.
Got to thank our entire team on Flow Racing, Joe and Elgin, doing a great job with the camera work for us here tonight.
Oh, we're not going to see the cone. We're going one to go and no cone.
There you go. Green, white checker finish, no cone.
Wow.
So this is exactly what Holloman wanted, but still that front bumper of Chris Fleming can be awfully powerful.
Under 5 to go, there's no cone. Under 5 to go, so we're single file. Oh, that's heartbreaking. It was going to be a good show. Hey, it still could be a good show.
Oh, it absolutely could. You never know what's going to happen
Still
here.
a lot of what ifs.
Heck, Brandon Ward still might win this race. And right now, he's running in the 5th spot because it could get crazy in a hurry. Holloman, good restart for him over Chris Fleming. And then Fleming a little bit of a gap back to Burt Myers for 3rd.
Chris Fleming, the showstopper, trying to catch the Superman, John Holloman. But John Holloman's got a good car. He's going to come around and see the white flag. He's going to keep that hooked on the bottom as he goes around 1 and 2 and keeps Chris Fleming behind him.
Danny Bone 4th, Brandon Ward in 5th. But by the grace of God and 600 horsepower, John Holloman a winner again at the Madhouse. 6th career win at Bowman Gray Stadium for John Holloman. He gets it done, leading this 100-lap race the whole way. Domination tonight for John Holloman. Chris Fleming in 2nd, Burt Myers in 3rd, 4th, Danny Bone, and 5th place is Brandon Ward. 6th, by the way, a couple of spots out of that $9,000 payday for Jason Myers.
Oh, Jason Myers can taste it, but it didn't quite get it. But look, Chris Fleming, he got a good points run tonight. He kept Brandon Ward behind him, and he kept Burt Myers behind him. So he's going to add a little bit of points to him tonight. That was a good run from Chris Fleming, the showstopper. But John Holloman needs to thank Chris Fleming for running him as clean as he did. It was a good run by all of them. And again, with less than 5 laps to go, it's a single file restart. My apologies. I should have known that. Should have remembered that. But again, it's the Madhouse. It'll spin your head around as you see John Holloman go over here, and he's probably going to lock it down and burn him down.
Or stall the car. It looked like he might have stalled it for a second.
I remember my first time.
Yeah.
No, he's going to lock it down here. Watch this.
And the 69 goes back to victory lane here at Bowman Gray Stadium. How many times have we seen that?
Oh, we've seen that many times. He's bringing that 69 back, and he's just going to go ahead and do a burnout here. A couple of donuts. Speaking of, we had ourselves some little donuts. You knew we were going to mention it.
We did, absolutely.
How can we not mention it?
Even if my brother's not here, we're going to mention the little donuts. I know that gets people worked up for sure, but they are darn good.
Very good.
And we appreciate it. We have the maple.
We have maple, yeah.
Little
and
donuts.
They also have cookies and cream shakes up there as well. We appreciate Zach Taylor. Support your local businesses, and
Absolutely.
he's one of them. He's doing a great job, and look, it's great. It's great. John Holloman with a fantastic run tonight here at the Fox 8 WGHP 100 lapper. As we'll throw it down to Randy.
John Holloman going to be celebrating a victory again here tonight at the Madhouse. Let's go down to victory lane and Randy Pulliam.
Out of the cockpit. Ends up being the Fox 8 WGHP 104. John Holloman started on the pole. He made it hold up. Here it comes. John, win number 2 on the season. Good to start up front, but I'll tell you what, you looked like several times some dirt track racing over there, and you held it together.
Man, I just got to start off by saying the great Dale Inman said, a good horse racer don't beat his horse after the race, and you can tell I'd never done that before because I clearly couldn't do a burnout against the wall. But I like doing my racing straightforward and going around turning left in the right direction. We did that the best of anybody tonight.
I know you want to thank your sponsors.
Man, absolutely. Just got to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for salvation. Without him, none of us would be here tonight. Definitely without him, we wouldn't be here at a dry racetrack. So it was pretty cool how that worked out. I'd like to shout out my wife at home, my little boy back in Knoxville. I know y'all are watching, so it's pretty cool to be able to bring a 100-lap trophy home tonight. But I got to thank Black Sand Company, R&R Automotive, the Long Crew, Vector Security, L&R Transmissions. Am I forgetting anybody? F&O Race Cars. Man, I swear. My crew did a great job tonight. Justin, Charlie, Taylor, Brennan, Nick, my dad, mom, man, everybody, man. We worked on this thing all day. We didn't have a great race car. We unloaded, but hey, all that matters now is we got the trophy, right?
That's right, Kevin. Let's go over and see Kevin Conley and get a winner's trophy for the second.
Cars lined up for another battle, but will that happen? We'll take a break here on Flow Racing and fill you in on everything happening at Bowman Gray Stadium.
Winston-Salem, North Carolina is a city with a rich history of reinventing itself. Here you can wine and dine back in time, or raise a glass to the future. Witness history in the making, or savor the present moment. That's why you'll love visiting Winston-Salem. Our past is present, our future is bright, and our city is yours to explore. Look forward. Travel back to Winston.